Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back. I am Matt, and if you followed along with my other videos, you'll know that playing craps aboard a cruise ship is way different than at a casino on land. Now, this video is the second in a pair about exactly how different cruise craps is. Today, we will be focusing on the don't pass style of play, which is, of course, my preferred method of play. Now, if you haven't watched my first video about playing the pass line or the do bets, I encourage you to go back and watch that video first, especially if you're new to dice. Now, if you've already watched my introduction to the other video, you can skip ahead using the chapters below. I said it in my first video, when you play dice aboard a ship, they are the only game in town. The table may only be open during certain hours. They may only have like one side of it open, and very often they can close early if no one's playing, if there's no action. In the past 2 months, I played on 3 different Royal Caribbean ships: the Adventure of the Seas, the Independence of the Seas, and the Mariner of the Seas. Now, even though they are all owned by the same cruise line, the rules on each ship were different. Other cruise lines will have their own rules, so you'll have to check with those different cruise companies: Princess, Carnival, Norwegian, Holland America, MSC, so on, P&O, whatever. Okay, so check with those companies if you want to know their rules. We're talking about Royal Caribbean. Rule number 1, both dice must hit the back wall. Same as in a land casino, right? Well, here's the thing. Land casinos are much more lenient. If only one die hits, right, and the other one lands kind of short, as long as it was a completely random roll that went across the entire felt, like that, land dealers typically would let it go with a warning. They say, "Sir, excuse me, please make sure both dice hit the back wall." But aboard the ship, they are very, very strict about enforcing those roll rules. Dealers can and will call no roll if both dice do not obviously and purposely hit the back wall. So, for example, that would be a no roll. And think about it. If you had money on the 10 and that happened, you'd be pretty upset, right? This problem about being super strict slows the game down, and again, can make players upset if they're winning, if they didn't win money. So make sure that just both bounce off the alligator skin on the back wall. All right, so that's the deal with the dice. The biggest problem I had was with the odds on the table. So this demonstration, $10 minimum table. Again, if you want to know about the pass line bets aboard these cruise ship tables, check out my other video. And if you're not a don't experienced don't player, check out my playlist. I've got dozens of videos on crap strategy and live rolls. If you don't know about playing the dark side, you might get confused with this video if you're super new to dice. All right, back to the odds. The big change is the amount of odds you can lay on the don't pass. At a typical land casino, the odds are 3, 4, and 5 times odds, which means you can win 3 times, 4 times, or 5 times the amount of your don't pass bet if a 7 rolls before that point number. Okay, let me demonstrate. $10 minimum table, right? If the point is a 4, if the point is a 4 or a 10, you could lay $60. Okay, that's not 60. That's $60. You could lay $60 to win $30 if a 7 rolls before the 4 or the 10. Okay, lay 60 to win 30, 3 times your don't pass bet, right? If the point is a 5 or a 9, again, laying $60, you could win $40. Okay? Again, $40 is 4 times your initial don't pass bet. Got it? And if it's a 6 or an 8, again, lay $60. And if a 7 rolls before the 6 or the 8 of the point, you win $50, 5 times your pass bet. Now, of course, by the way, you'll always win your don't pass bet, even money 1-to-1, if a 7 comes out. All right. Now, some casinos will offer 10 times odds, which means you can lay enough to win $100 on a $10 minimum bet, which is 10 times your don't pass bet. In that case, you'd have to modify the amount of your lay. So if you have it 10 times odds across all the numbers, you'd need to lay $200, okay, in order to win 100. All right? If the point was a 4 or a 10. If the point's a 5 or a 9 and you want to win $100, you'd have to lay $150 because $150 will win you $100 on the lay. And then finally, if the point is a 6 or an 8, if you lay $120 and a 7 comes, you'll win $100, 10 times your initial don't pass flat bet. All those scenarios wins you $100. Okay. The lay bet. Remember, it's an optional bet you can add to your don't pass flat bet. And that pays the true odds of a 7 against the point. So on a 4 and a 10, you'll get paid 1 for 2. If you bet 2, you'll win 1. On a 5 and a 9, the payout on the lay is 2 to 3, which is kind of like a reverse blackjack. Okay, you bet 3, you'll win 2. And at a 6 or an 8, we'll pay $5 for every 6. So if it's a 6, let's say, and let's go back to our $10 flat bet. And let's say we want to lay, I mean, you can lay $6 odds on that, okay? On a 5 or an 8, that would pay $5. And then you get $10 for your flat bet here, okay? A $12 lay, okay? That would win you 10, so on and so forth. So that's how the odds work in a typical 3, 4, 5 times casino. Now, let's take, for example, the table aboard the Adventure of the Seas. Now, this ship took me a while to get used to. It was a $10 minimum table. It's a $10 minimum table. And you're allowed to only lay single odds, 1 times odds. And that's for any point, 1 times odds, which means you're only allowed to lay the amount that wins you 1 times your don't pass bet. Okay, so for example, points at 10, $20 in odds. Okay, now usually I would place them like this, my bets towards the dealer, but this casino, they moved them more like a bridge. So there's your flat bet, there's your odds. It shows that these two amounts are the same. I guess it's for the cameras. Okay, so they move like a bridge. Point of 10, $20 in odds. If a 7 rolled, okay, you'd always be paid your $10 flat bet, right? Your $10 flat bet. And then with a point of 4 and 10, you lay 20, you'd win $10 for the odds, okay? Because single odds means the most you can win is 1 time, single times, whatever your initial don't pass bet was. Therefore, for each point, you have to lay a different max for each point in order to win the same dollar amount. Now, I hardly ever lay odds on the 5, 6, 8, or 9, so I'm not too familiar with these payouts. But with a point of a 5 or a 9, you can lay $15, okay? $10 don't pass, points of 5, lay $15. If a 7 rolls, you win $10 on your odds, okay? Because that's the most you can win 1 times your flat bet. It's also, remember, a reverse blackjack. You bet 3, you're winning 2. Right? And for the 6 or the 8, you could lay $12 in odds, okay? If the point's a 6 or an 8, let's say. 7 rolls, you'll get paid, again, $10 here and $10 for your don't pass bet. All right? Now, if you're an experienced player and you know like how to give odds and you want to max out, with a $10 minimum bet, you have to live with the 1 times odds. That's it. Now, this structure is a real pain for us don't players, right? I mean, we know we have the advantage and we want to maximize the payout. You know, but again, minimum bet, single times odds. How do you get to lay more odds? Well, in order to do that, you must increase the amount of your don't pass bet. In this case, aboard this ship, if you bet 1.5, the minimum, which is $15, okay? Don't pass bet. Instead of a $10 bet, you're betting 1.5 times, which is $15. Now you're allowed to take up to 2 times odds on any number. So when you go up to $15, you can lay the appropriate amount to win $30, because 30 is 2 times 15. Okay. In the case of a 4 or a 10, you lay $60, right? You win 30. All right. In the case of a 5 or a 9, you'd have to lay $45 to win you 30. All right. And in the case of a 6 or an 8, you lay $36 maximum. And if a 7 comes before the 6, you'll get paid $30 on your lay. Okay. Now again, this option is only available if you increase your don't pass bet. And you're increasing it to 1.5 times the table minimum, which happened to be $15. If you were on a larger denomination table, it again would be 1.5 times that amount. All right. So how do we get the coveted 3, 4, 5 times odds aboard this ship? Well, in this case, you must make a don't pass bet of $25 in order to have the privilege to get that 3, 4, 5 times odds. All right, so here's what it looks like to max out your odds for $25 don't pass bet. For a point of a 4 or a 10, you can only win $75 in odds, right? 3 times what your don't pass is. By the way, for all you aspiring dealers out there, the maximum lay on a 3, 4, 5 table will always be 6 times your flat bet. So 6 times 25 is 150. So in each of these cases, we'll be laying $150. So you lay $150 on a 4 or 10 to win 75. Okay. On a point of a 5 or a 9, you will win $100. Okay, because it's $100 is 4 times your $100. $100 is 4 times your flat bet. Okay, and if the point is a 6 or an 8, again laying 150, you have the opportunity to win $125 on your points, because again 125 is 5 times you don't pass. Now again, you can lay any amount that is less than the maximum. I mean, you can lay $6 if you want, as long as the odds are a proper amount, which means that the math works out without any fractions. Okay, so for all lay odds, you cannot go wrong with laying any amount divisible by 6. So you could do 6, 12, 30, 72, 330. The math all works out when you're laying odds divisible by 6. All right, so that's the basics on that. To finish off the video, I want to tell you about the other ships and how they offered their odds, because they were all different, even though, again, they were all Royal Caribbean ships. Aboard the Independence of the Seas, it was as follows. It was a $10 minimum table. You could have single odds on any don't pass bet less than 25, just like before. It was double odds if you bet $25. So not 15 like the first ship. You had to bet $25 in order to get the double odds. And to get the coveted 3, 4, 5 times odds aboard this ship, well, you had to bet $50 flat bet on the don't pass or more. Let's talk about Mariner of the Seas. Mariner of the Seas was a minimum $5 table. Okay, and like the Independence, you get single odds for bets that were up to $25. And then after that, $25 bet gets you double odds. And then for 3, 4, 5 odds, you have to bet $50 or more on your don't pass. Now, these last 2 ships had double the betting requirements compared to Adventure of the Seas. Adventure of the Seas, you get 3, 4, 5 if you did 25. These ships, you had to do $50. I just felt like that was outrageous. I mean, 3, 4, 5 is standard odds for just about every casino in the world. I wasn't happy about it. I really felt like they were bending players over the barrel, especially those players that may be brand new and like, hey, let's try dice out on the vacation for a little fun. And it turns out to be much more expensive than they thought it was going to be. But of course, that's the job of the casinos, right? All right. So finally, for those that like to make straight lay bets, right? Where's my DG crowd, right? Woohoo! All right. There was no difference for straight lay bets against numbers. Okay, so if the standard 5% commission applied. So for every $20 of potential win, it costs you $1. So a $100 win, okay, $100 win, it would cost you $5. $5 casino commission back to the casino. A $200 win would cost you $10. And yes, you do have to pay that commission up front when you make the bet. So I hope this cleared up a lot of confusion about playing craps on a cruise ship. If you come across rules aboard a cruise ship that you were on that were different than me, please let me know down in the comments section below. I'll close out by asking you guys to click the link for my first video demonstrating that pass line on a ship. Now, I'm primarily a don't player, and explain both sides of the play in one video would just take too long. So hope you guys appreciated me breaking it up into 2 videos that are nice and short. And as always, you can reach me at CaptainMattCraps@gmail.com. Guys, thanks a lot for watching. I am Matt, and I will see you at the tables. Bye-bye.